Hello you guys, my name is Stanisha, and in today's video I would like to talk to you guys about two topics. The first topic I'm gonna go into is depression, right? What is depression? Depression is a prolonged mood. It could be either minor or major of sadness or pessimistic feeling in which the person that used to want to do activities doesn't want to do it with them anymore. They don't want to go out anymore, and they feel a prolonged pessimistic mood. So first thing with depression is that depression happens to everyone, right? So why am I mentioning this, right? I told you guys I love fall, and I don't care what nobody says, fall is here. I'm very happy, but during this time there's a disorder called SAD, seasonal affective disorder, in which because of the shorter months and the shorter daylight, because of the the shorter daylight cycle, because of that, then you get prolonged sad moods. And also it's the holidays, some people might not have family, and because of that there's many factors at play that could cause people to feel depressed, right? Not to mention everyday situations that might cause depression, that might cause people to get sad, and other factors, right? On a daily basis, people get sad, their moods goes up and down, right? As a person myself, as a person, I have to be honest and say sometimes I get depressed, sometimes I'm happy, and I get depressed. And depression happens to everyone, right? So this video is for anyone who gets depressed, who feels sad, who feels like sometimes down. So depression is to this video is to show you that not only are you not alone, some effective tools I use when I get down, and that you could use to combat depression, right? So the first thing I want to say with depression is, if you have a major case like I'd say clinical depression, then you probably want to see a physician, because then they'll be able to help you with that situation. But if you have a minor case and you feel that you can handle it, then I would start to say to start by journaling, right? Because journaling is like free therapy, and it's like journaling is free therapy, and it's like you can write your thoughts down, you can write what's going on with you, what you're feeling. And it's like when you write down your thoughts, sometimes the reason you feel depressed is because you feel like you're not being heard, right? You feel like your thoughts are jumbled up in your head, you want to be heard. Listening to your favorite music, taking a shower, drinking some warm soups, going out, exercising, joining a gym, starting a friend group, starting like an online group. All these things will be there for you to get more connected, right? And if it's something to do with because of light sources and maybe you don't have any family, there's plenty of ways to combat that, and there's plenty of resources and books that are out there that's going to give you excellent tips on how to deal with it, right? So for me, I feel like whenever I get depressed, it's because of lacking of energy. So I take magnesium, I take vitamin D, I take iron, because I'm anemic and stuff. Simply because I'm anemic, I'm very anemic, right? So then I always take a bunch of supplements. I did a lot of research on my blood work and stuff like that, and along with other medications that I take, which is prescribed, because I try to to always do blood work every year and make sure my stuff and labs are up to date, right? So with your, make sure you get an annual checkup, number one, to check to see if all your blood levels are a thing, because sometimes what's going on with depression is that, or any low level mood, it could be you're missing iron, it could be vitamin D, it could be magnesium, it could be calcium, it could be a whole host of, it could be B complex, you're missing B complex, it could be B12, you're lacking energy. Because sometimes you might think it's depression, but it could be low grade lack of energy a vitamin deficiency, right? So get that checked out. Another thing you want to go get checked out is your diet, right? Your diet, believe it or not, has a lot to do with your mental health and your mental wellness, right? A great thing I love is that right now during these days, people are getting to vegan diet. And vegan diet, although it's kind of extreme for me, I have begun to do a lifestyle change in which I have begun to implement a lot of changes in my life, in which I am doing a lot of things for my body, and I'm noticing the changes each and every single day. For instance, with sugar, I'm becoming more insulin sensitive instead of sensitive resistant. Insulin resistant. How do I know this? Like when I'm eating food, it takes a lot less sugar for me to get satiated. It takes a lot less sugar for me to get satiated than it used to. Like I'm more satisfied with less sugar than I used to be before, whereas it would take me 5 to 6 like spoonfuls of sugar to be satisfied. Now it takes me just 1 or a half teaspoon, right? A teaspoon and a half, right? So I'm becoming more insulin sensitive, and although I do get low energy in certain areas, I'm using research to vitamins to understand how to get my energy up, right? So the thing is, the next thing I'm going to say is to know your body. Know your body. Know what gives you low moods, low energy. So I've heard of people going to the library and doing extensive research on like what each vitamin does. That's a great step if you have minor depression, only minor depression, right? If you have clinical or anything that's major, do get that checked out and treated, and stay on your meds if you're on it, right? And get off with a licensed doctor when they tell you to get off, right? When you can. So the thing I would say is, if it's major, or if it's a major case, or you feel that you need medication, go to a doctor and get your medication. A lot of times medication is temporary, and it helps your moods during this time period of SAD, right? Seasonal affective disorder. Another thing I would say that is excellent is, if you feel like you don't need medication, you could definitely go to a licensed therapist. You could definitely go to a licensed therapist who will help you. You could definitely go to a licensed therapist who will help you with what you're dealing with. So then you could see a licensed therapist, somebody that will talk to you. Sometimes depression has to do with talking to you. That's why I say sometimes journaling will do it. Sometimes talking to somebody like a clergyman or a therapist, or getting an app that you could talk to a licensed therapist will do it for you, right? Another thing about depression is you want to get your diet right. As I said before, get your diet right. Find out what food is good for your diet, because I know fatty fish is very good for it. Food with vitamin D, like omega-3 fatty acids, those things, olive oils, good, and not seed oils. You want to make sure you get a very good diet that is very nutritious, that is going to give you your adequate sleep, adequate rest. It's going to build your muscles, give you adequate good fats, right? Good fats like avocados, right? You want like a good diet, right? That's going to help you with the situation that you're feeling during these months, right? So you're going to get your energy from your food, and make sure to get out at least daily, maybe 15 to 30 minutes at least every day, so you can enjoy the sunlight, right? Because the sunlight is good for you, especially during 12 peak hours, 12 noon, because what's going on is that the days are shorter, so you're not getting adequate vitamin D intake, right? So you want to make sure you handle that. You want to build up with routine with exercise, right? Because exercise helps with your energy, right? So maybe get a gym membership or do some at-home exercises, but make sure you have a routine exercise schedule, right? So, and if that anything else, talk to a friend, talk to a clergyman, know that you're not alone during this time that you're going through. And I would say know your enemy, right? Depression is your enemy, so know your enemy. Do adequate research on it. There's excellent resources at the library that's going to help you combat this situation, and it has excellent things. The thing is following through and really getting the help that you deserve and need, right? So then you guys, those are some tips I have for depression. Know your enemy, which is depression, and know that you're not alone. Everyone goes through it. I go through it. We all go through it. And limit social media, especially Instagram, where people are posting highlight reels, because that's really not helpful for you. You want to listen to media like YouTube, like this video, like other videos on YouTube that is more long form, that is more analytical, that is more look at movies and stuff, media that is more family oriented, that gets you in the mood. For example, the next topic I'm going to go into, which is Gason Makoklen 3, you're gonna see it's a very family oriented movie. Like you could really get into it, sink your teeth into it, and when you look at it, it makes you remind of good old days. So anything that's nostalgic, that's meaningful, that's family oriented, that type of entertainment, you want to take more of that. And long form entertainment especially, you don't want to look at things that are short term, that is like quick sound bites giving you meaningless things like Instagram, TikTok, anything like that, that is just quick things about people griping. You don't want a negative media, right? Because you're going through depression, right? So then the next topic I'm going to go into, you guys, is Gason Makoklen 3. So the next topic I'm going to get into, you guys, is Gason Makoklen 3. So when I go to sweetcoconuts.blogspot.com, and it defines Gason Makoklen as men that are multitaskers. They take charge of what are usually labeled women's duties, short of breastfeeding their babies, right? So that's one thing, one way they define it. But I remember when I used to speak to my mom, when my mom was still here, she would say that Gason Makoklen is like a gosoulier, somebody that doesn't know how to talk to women. They don't know how to finesse women. They don't have no finesse or nothing like that, right? They don't know how to mac, basically, right? How to mac a woman. They don't know how to mac a chick, basically, right? So Gason Makoklen 3 has 2 installments for it. Gason Makoklen 1 and Gason Makoklen 2. For the sake of this video, I'm only going to cover 3 and give you only a tidbit of 1 and 2, right? So 1 is when Mesidie, which is one of the main characters, brings his wife Jezila from Haiti, right? So Mesidie in English means thank you God, and the wife's name Jezila means Jesus is here, right? So when they're speaking, it's like their names already means comical things, so it's kind of funny when they're speaking and calling each other that, right? Which is our legitimate Haitian names, right? So one thing about the film is that the film is in Haitian Creole and it doesn't have direct translation. So I'm just going to tell you about it just for enjoyment's sake. And I hope you enjoy it, right? Hopefully maybe one day you could watch it and with somebody that could translate it for you, right? So the first thing I want to go into is number 1 was about Mesidie bringing his wife Jezila from Haiti. And he begins to be verbally abusive towards her, not letting her go out, make her cooped up in the house. And eventually, Jezila meets up with Andre-Anne, which is Tiwil's wife, who is the best friend of Mesidie, right? So Tiwil and Mesidie are best friends, and Andre-Anne is Tiwil's wife, right? So eventually, Andre-Anne and Jezila is going to be friends. And number 1, what ends up happening is that Andre-Anne gives her tactics, because Andre-Anne is like a big chef, right? She's a big boss, right? She's basically, they're both housewives, but Jezila gets treated kind of poorly because she doesn't know any better. She just came from Haiti. She's really sweet and stuff like that, and so she doesn't know how to control her man, right? But Andre-Anne, she basically doesn't work, but she's basically the boss of the house. She gets her manicures paid, her hair paid. She's like the girl. She's well to do, she's sophisticated, she's Frenchy, and she's really got it like going on, right? So basically one day Andre-Anne meets with Jezila in the stairwell, and she needs a phone, and then she finds out she doesn't have a phone, and she's asking her, you don't have a phone, not even in your apartment? What would you do if you had an emergency? And she's like, you know, and what's going on with that? So she explains to her the situation with Mesidie, how he doesn't buy her anything. She's basically cooped up in the house cooking and cleaning, and he wants her to get his food cooked and done, but all he wants to do is sleep with her quickly and just basically not finesse or romance her. And he's basically like a grocery Gason Makoklen, right? So in the film, what ends up happening is that she gives her advice, and she tells her, look, you're gonna get sexy lingerie, you're gonna get this and that, that's number one, you're gonna get this and that, and I'm gonna show you how to finesse him so you can buy you TV, computer, all this stuff, right? And in the end of number one, she does show her how to do all these things, and she becomes a boss also, right? But number two is when they both max out Tiwil's credit card. They go to Florida, and it's a whole misadventure of number Gason Makoklen 2, right? So that's Gason Makoklen 2, where they go on a trip to Florida. They max out Tiwil's credit card, and it's a whole misadventure of what they're doing there. And she's basically like buying stuff and maxing out the credit card, right? So number 3 is what we're gonna get into. So Gason Makoklen 3 is well done, right? You know, a film is well done, and I'm gonna give you a short synopsis gist of it. Is that we know it's well done when you finish watching it. It feels like you watched it for the first time, right? And it feels like, and you tell yourself when you finish watching it, they don't make films like this anymore, right? You start acting like an old person, right? But this film is actually very good. Number 1, number 2 I could do without. Number 3 is excellent, right? First of all, the cinematography is pretty good. It's clear, it's excellent. I like it. At least I like it, right? The music now, what's going on with the YouTube license, because it's on YouTube, is that when it's on YouTube, they can't play the compa songs that go along with it, the natural native songs that go along with it. So they have to play a bunch of YouTube symphonies. So it kind of takes away from it, but not really, right? Because when I watched number 1 on YouTube, it took away from it completely. But number 3, it doesn't take away from it at all. It's still a really good film, a bomb film, right? So you know a film is a bomb film when it's like the bombs, when it's like it doesn't have its normal soundtrack, but it's still very good. And this is what number 3 is, right? So number 3 has to do with Jezila getting like a bunch of things going on with Mesidie, right? Her husband, who is cheap. He doesn't know how to finesse her. He doesn't know how to touch her. He doesn't know how to make love to her. And he's just basically like not really a man of the house, right? He's basically like a woman who doesn't know how to treat her right, you know? So with Andre-Anne is with Tiwil, and Andre-Anne is giving Tiwil a bunch of problems. Tiwil is doing everything for Andre-Anne as normal, but Andre-Anne wants to spend stuff on boots, on shoes, get new furniture. She wants the whole nine. She wants a new car. She wants this. Every week she has to change her furniture. She has to change her clothes. She has to change her wardrobe, and she's basically just a big boss, right? So the whole film is centered around the selfishness that's going on between Andre-Anne and Tiwil, and how cheap Mesidie is with Jezila. So Jezila is like, you know what, I want to basically get a job, right? And at first Mesidie won't hear of it, but when she decides to work for Tiwil, Mesidie doesn't mind, right? He doesn't mind. She ends up eventually working for Tiwil. So in the film, what's going on is that you keep seeing this woman, this mystery woman that's hidden behind a car glass, the car review mirror. She's basically stalking Andre-Anne and Tiwil. And what it is that later on you find out her name is Michaela, and she has ties with Tiwil, and there's possibly a love child between them, right? But what you don't know is that she was with Tiwil first, and that Andre-Anne stole Tiwil from her, right? And she has a score to settle with Andre-Anne, right? She wants to break them apart, right? But the question is, will she succeed, right? Or will Andre-Anne do that on her own with her overzealous ways she acts and the way she doesn't appreciate Tiwil, right? And the question we want to ask is, will Mesidie ever stop his cheap ways, right? His cheap Gosoulier ways, his cheap like unrefined ways. And there's a scene that shows how unrefined he is, right? So they're in the restaurant, they're in the Haitian restaurant in Montreal, and it's like they're getting out for this fancy restaurant who she had to beg him to go to, and then he starts to ask for like maïmoulin, which is like which is like maize, cornmeal, which is like the most poorest meal. And it's like a faux pas to ask for that meal when you go to a restaurant, right? And he's like, and the person is asking him in French in a very refined way to order the food, and he just responded in Creole in a way it's like so brusque to her, right? So the whole time they bring the food, and then he starts licking. He has no etiquette, and Jezila is like, oh, you're so embarrassing. How are you embarrassing me like this, right? And it's like he so doesn't get how to finesse her, how to make love to her, how to treat her right. In fact, throughout all the film, he's like, can you finesse me? Can you make love to me? Can you show me what it is to be your wife, to be a woman, right? So it basically has to do with the woes. Gason Makoklen basically has to do with the woes of being a wife, a Haitian wife, right? Or a wife, to be exact, right? Because you know how women in total, on a basis, feel like they're not being paid attention to, they're not being finessed, they're not being loved on. And that's basically the whole gist of Gason Makoklen. And the thing I like about it is the cinematography. If you look at the original soundtrack of all three of the films, they have a compa soundtrack, and it's very good. But number 3, it doesn't take anything away from it. It's a good film. It's the bombs. The film is a good film. The bombs, and I really like it, right? I really think you'll enjoy it. Especially if you have somebody that's Haitian that could translate for you, or maybe you could get an app to translate for you. It'll be excellent, right? So then that's basically, let me see, what else? Is there anything else? So then throughout the whole film, it's like, throughout the film, Tiwil keeps getting this admirer that keeps writing love notes to him, and we wonder if it's Michaela or if it's somebody else. But throughout the film, it's like Andre-Anne is giving him a lot of pressure. There's even a point where she tries to pretend that she's pregnant just to get money out of him, and it's like the whole situation is messed up, right? So the film is basically, will their love withstand? Will Jezila be able to stay with Mesidie, because Mesidie is so cheap. He so doesn't know how to care for her, to give her tender love, to give her care, right? What every housewife says, her husband doesn't know how to give her love, how to be there for her, that. And will Tiwil and Andre-Anne last with Andre-Anne's high strong ways of, she wants to shop, she wants things her way, she wants a new furniture, she wants a new car, she just basically wants to spend his money, and he's the only one that's working. She's a housewife, right? With what money, right? So that's basically it, right? So it's basically, the question is like, what does she bring to the table? What does Mesidie bring to the table, right? So on the outside, let me give you a shorter subtopic, which I wasn't really preparing, is what do you bring to the table, right? You want to be a boss babe, you want to be a boss guy, you want to be a boss dude, but what do you bring to the table? Do you bring your own money? Do you bring your own tender loving care? Because in a relationship, you have to bring loving care, right? In a household, in a marriage is a very beautiful thing when it's done right? When you finesse your wife or your husband, when you guys hang out, when you guys talk, when you guys go out, when you guys treat each other right, when you guys hang out, when you guys basically show each other tender love and affection, which we see is missing in this film, right? Because both of them have their own problems going on, and it's left up in the air is, will they withstand the test of time, or will something break the two of these relationships apart, right? Because it seems like both Jezila and both Tiwil or at their wits' end, and it's like they don't know what to do anymore, right? Well, can they withstand the test of time is basically what the film is trying to say, right? So as an aside, what do you bring to the table, right? If you're in a relationship or not, what do you bring to the table? Is it your body? Is it your beautiful looks? Is it your mind? What do you bring to the table aside from you want to spend the person's money, you want to spend the hard-earned money, you want to basically you basically want to spend their money, right? So what can you bring to the table other than your looks and spending their money, right? Can you bring your own income? Could you bring your own smarts, your own goodness into the relationship, right? So finally, a marriage is supposed to be a thing of tender loving care. It's a beautiful thing when it's done right. Right, you guys hang out, you guys play together, you fight together, you do all things together, you watch movies together, you hang out. That's what a marriage is, right? It's one of the most beautiful things out there, right? Especially with couples therapy, and really getting to know what a relationship's supposed to be like, right? So basically, but the question is, will it work out for these two couples, right? Or will they break up, right? How will it end, right? Because with Mesidie acting the way he's so cheap, and a Gason Makoklen, will it work out, right? And will it work out with Andre-Anne with her high strong ways, right? So this film is in Haitian Creole. It's not in English. It's not available in English. I tried to see if there was available in English anywhere, but it's not, right? So then you guys, that's basically it. That's my video for today, and it was a review of Gason Makoklen 3, which is a very good film, and basically talking about depression, sad, and how that affects people during this time of the year, right? So then you guys, my name is Andre-Anne. Have a lovely day, you guys. See ya.